Alright, you guys here, this is video E3.2-7, the Slinky Lab, and again we're looking at E3.2b here, the learning target. Explain how scientists infer that the Earth has interior layers with discernible properties using patterns of primary and secondary seismic wave arrivals. So really we got to take a peek at what are these primary and secondary waves. So leading question, how does energy travel when an earthquake occurs? And you guys should have this Slinky Lab sheet out already. The goals: to explore 3 different types of waves produced by earthquakes. After carefully following the directions of the lab and using some critical thinking, you should be able to understand the differences between primary, secondary, and surface waves. So you are going to need to read the directions very carefully. But before you begin, a few things about these Slinkies. They are super Slinkies, very large, and you'll see here in step 1, I have you stretch it to about 28 feet. It doesn't have to be exact, but somewhere around there. What you cannot do is let this Slinky go when it's stretched out. It will snake back and get all kinked up. And you'll see that some of these are already in pretty bad shape. The ones we have still work, but we do need to be careful with them. So if we are having a problem with people treating these inappropriately, then you will lose lab privileges, and we can just go back to paper pencil, which you and I don't want to do. So take good care of this. Hold it with 2 hands when you're carrying it, and do not let go of it when it is stretched out. So follow the directions very carefully. In activity 1 here, it says one person always holds it still, the other's going to move it. You guys can take turns doing this in each activity, or someone can move it for activity 1, the other person for activity 2. It is really up to you guys. But in activity 1, it says one person is moving their end of the Slinky quickly forward and backward, so away from you and towards you. You're just kind of taking that Slinky and along the ground, it's always on the ground, pushing it forward and backward to sort of push some waves down it. And please notice on the second page here, the data and observations, you need to be filling out this data table as you work through this. In activity 2, same scenario, one person holds it still and the other person goes quickly side to side. So it's still on the floor, hasn't left the floor yet. And you're just moving that Slinky on the floor side to side, about a yard. Okay, it says 3 feet from one side to the other. And in activity 3, we're going to kind of combine these. Okay, so again, stretch it out to the same length. One person holds their end still, while the other person is moving their end of the Slinky, both side to side and in a forward-backward motion. This one can actually be done by sort of taking that Slinky right in front of you and pushing it, but making sort of a circle in front of you up off the ground. Okay, you're gonna kind of have a combination of waves here. All right, but read the directions, and you should be able to do this. Now, these questions in the conclude and apply are some tough questions. People generally struggle with these. You gotta be a thinker. Okay, go back to your notes if you need to. Right? See Mr. A or I if you have any questions. Good luck, and remember, take care of the Slinky.